Hey, welcome to the Avert podcast, where we talk with some of the most creative people within North Texas and beyond. I'm your host, Michael Gibson Jr. First of all, Happy New Year. Hope your holidays were great. I ended up spending mine sick. My girlfriend and her kids ended up coming down with something a while back, and I did well to not get sick for so long, but eventually it caught up with me during the holidays of all times. Other than that, I caught up on some much needed rest, and it was great. I also want to let you in on a very big update. As you may know, aside from working at my day job and podcasting, I've also been working on a film. It's called Alora, and has been selected into the 2019 Denton Black Film Festival. It was written by myself and my friend, the very talented Nicholas Muthersbaugh, and Nick also directed it. The story is about a single mother who is training as a NASA astronaut to potentially go to visit a new planet that has been discovered within the Goldilocks zone of a star. The conflict arises in that she has to make a choice between going on the mission of a lifetime versus the love of her daughter that she would potentially leave behind. It's an amazing story. I hope you can come check it out. The world premiere is going to be Saturday, January 26th of this year, 2019, at 6:15 at the Campus Theater in Denton, Texas. We'll have a link at averturizepod.com so you can see the trailer we released, as well as get tickets to the screening. The film stars three amazing actresses that we had the opportunity to work with. Brizendine, who has been a friend of the podcast and plays the mother. Maddy Lea Hendrix, who plays the daughter and did such a fantastic job. And our next guest on the podcast, Nicole Fancher. Nicole Fancher was born in LA, but mostly grew up in Oklahoma. She has a bachelor's degree in vocal performance and English composition. But she got the film bug while taking a class on film at Oklahoma City University and has been acting in indie films and commercials ever since. Be on the lookout for her in a starring role in a feature film called Shifter, which will be filming in February. During our conversation, we discussed acting, her upcoming film Shifter, shark movies, and so much more on episode 37 of the Avert podcast. Consider yourself warned. I wish I was more of an artistic person in like the classic art sense as far as, creating stuff with my hands. Like I have an eye, like I can take photos and I can edit and stuff, but the people that can actually draw and paint and sculpt and, any of those classical arts, I was just like, I'm always blown away.
Have you tried any of them?
I used to draw in middle school, but then I had an art teacher in high school no, it wasn't middle school. I ended up going up a grade, and that art teacher just took the passion out of art for me, so I ended up going into choir, and was in choir all through high school and the rest of the middle school, but...
I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. But it's very hard to, when you're working on like a commission base and they're like, I want this by a certain deadline. That's sort of the thing that she was trying to instill in us. And I was like,
like the more commercial side.
Yeah.
Business side, I see.
Yeah, but I was like, we're in middle school. Like, this is a passion for a lot of people. So.
Yeah. We can always learn. Just do it for fun. I love painting and drawing. Like it's so relaxing.
Well, what's so funny is that hopefully I'll have time. My girlfriend's daughter, we bought her a easel and a whole bunch of paint stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some time and paint. So I bought myself an easel as well, some canvases and some paints and some brushes. And that was 2 years ago. I've been so busy. Never stopped.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have a bunch of painting stuff. And I don't know. But I've been doing it more recently one with my niece, and then while babysitting. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so relaxing. Just like for my brain.
Yeah.
And my emotions too. I was like, I need to do this like all the time. Why don't I do this?
Right.
Because I just tend to like watch TV usually.
Well, then what sort of stuff do you like to watch?
Cheesy shows like Quantico. It just got canceled and I was sad.
Yeah, like I saw commercials for it and I thought the girl was kind of cute. And I was like, maybe I should, but...
Well, it's pretty unrealistic and pretty dramatic.
Almost like a soap opera.
Oh, yes. There are lots of love triangles. Actually, there was like a love square. Like, people are kidnapped all the time. The stakes are really high all the time.
Yeah, which is funny because, like, I absolutely love Grey's Anatomy, and that's definitely a soap opera.
Yeah.
That's like a guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah. I like procedurals, too. Like, I really like Bones.
Could never really... I dated a girl that loved Bones, but I could never... And I was a fan of David Borealis, or however you pronounce his last name, when he was on Buffy and then got his spin-off, Boreanaz. But when he got Angel, and I watched those, but I just couldn't get the Bones for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that one. I like Castle. I love comedies.
See, and that's another one. Like, I loved the guy in Castle, but I could never get into that show because I got into what was that show that he was on? Firefly.
Yeah, I love that show.
But I got into it after it was canceled, and
right.
There was all that uproar. And so I was like, well, what's this that everybody's? Oh my god, this is so good. Why would they cancel this?
I know, it was so good. No, I really like comedies. Awkward situations. I love Christopher Guest. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, I love him so much. Are you recording now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know if we had started up. Hi, I'm Nicole Fancher. I'm originally from Glendale, California.
And what brought you to Texas?
Well, when I was 8, we moved to Oklahoma for my dad's job. And then I went back to LA for a couple years. And then I was in an accident and I couldn't work for a while. So I moved in with my parents here about 3 years ago.
Well, do you want to talk about the accident?
Yeah, it's fine. I was a weekend nanny for a very wealthy family in Bel Air, but they had a 9-year-old girl who had an anger problem, and she hit me in the face with a volleyball, and it wasn't like she didn't throw it that hard, but she had a really, really good arm, and she could throw really far. So it threw out my neck and gave me a concussion, and so
oh, no.
I've been dealing with that the past 3 years.
Oh no.
So yeah, I couldn't work at first, I couldn't drive at first, but obviously I've gotten a lot better.
Now, what was it that brought you initially to acting?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not sure if I came to dancing or singing or acting first. I started dance at a really young age. I think around 5, maybe 4. But I was also singing really young too. And then I studied opera in college, vocal performance. Yeah, I studied opera and musical theater. And then I was going to do that. But then in order to do opera, I would have had to go to graduate school. And also I had some technical issues to work on, and I realized that I really didn't love opera enough to keep doing it because it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I kind of realized that at the end of my my senior year in college. I was watching an opera. I was just sitting there in the theater, and I was like, oh my god, I'm kind of bored right now. So I also studied English, and one of the classes I took for that was a class called Great Films, and we studied great films and wrote about them and critiqued them. And so I just got really interested in film that way. So after I graduated, I decided to study on-camera acting and then just try it out. I really didn't know if I'd be any good. And then it just kind of clicked, and I loved being on set. Oh, and I was in a student film in college. And I did a little stunt where I had to fall onto a mattress, and that was really fun. And we improv'd, and that was really fun too. And I just kind of got bit by the film bug. So I'd still like to do a musical film. Probably not opera. I don't know. Maybe some opera that's not too hard. Some of it's harder than others.
Did you have any other than opera? Like, were you in choir in high school or?
Yes. Choir and show choir is a big show choir person. Yeah. And our high school, they're really intense about show choir. Like,
what high school did you go to and where?
Jinx High School in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Fossil Ridge in the Keller ISD. I was of the 5 choirs that we had, I was in 3 of them, including show choir and madrigal, so.
Oh, wow. Dang, we could only be in 1 choir, and then we auditioned for show choir. Different show choirs. So yeah, we went to competitions, and like, the costumes were really nice. We had these clip-in hair things. Hair extensions that were really big. Yeah. I wish I still had those.
Which is funny too, because like I also come from sort of that musical background, because the reason that I went to UNT was, it was close, but then also they were a huge musical school, and we went and toured. We got to visit with the jazz singers and see them perform one time.
Okay.
And was doing research, and I was like, oh, these guys are, multi-Grammy award winners and whatnot. And I was like, I think I'm going to go here and do music. But then I realized that, you got to devote your life.
It's a lot. It's almost like being an athlete. You have to practice that much, and really, you have to practice every day and really be on your game. Being physically fit helps too. But I think I like singing and I miss it sometimes. But with opera, arias and art songs, there isn't a lot of room for improvisation.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that creative for me. Every once in a while there's a fermata, and you can change the tempo a little bit here and there, but most of the time you just had to do what was written on the page. And then usually in an opera, they tell you what the character is feeling, and so what you're supposed to be acting. So it just was like, I don't know. It wasn't that creatively fulfilling. But I still would love to do a musical film. I would love to do that.
Now, as far as musicals go, do you have like a favorite musical?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Musical film, I really liked La La Land.
I still haven't seen that one yet.
What?
I know.
I have the DVD. Do you want to borrow it?
Sure.
I have it right there. I really liked it. Oh gosh. The next one that comes to mind is Into the Woods.
Still haven't seen that one either.
What?
I just, most of the stuff, I sort of trailed off within, the last, 5 to 7 years as far as, unless, but I did see, a bunch of, the Marvel stuff, really, but I've been way too busy to stop, but I'm hoping to start picking back up here very soon and see some of the, more recent stuff.
Way too busy for films in general, or?
Yeah,
okay.
My time is usually, very, very, because I'm juggling, I'm juggling so many things between, making the movie that you were a part of,
right.
This podcast, and then work, my,
right.
my regular day job. So it's
No, that makes sense.
So when I get home, my de-stressor. Like, I'll throw on stand-up comedy on Netflix and just, you know.
Yeah. Just something to just chill out and something you don't... I understand that. That's why I watch those cheesy shows we were talking about earlier. You can just let your brain go. You don't have to really closely follow it. But, oh, man. Oh, Les Miserables was really good.
I loved Les Mis.
Oh, okay. You saw the film?
Did I see the film? I want to say that. I want to say I did. I want to say I did. I have a feeling that I did, but...
Oh, I actually auditioned for that. I sent in a video.
Really?
I think it was just like a publicity casting thing. Like, I don't think they were really going to cast an unknown person, but I was like, hey, I'm going to send in a video. And I'm not the right voice type either. It was for Cosette, I think. That was Amanda Seyfried's part.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, that's right. But anyway. Oh, The Greatest Showman. I love that.
Haven't seen that one either. But Hugh Jackman's also, you know, they just announced that he's going to be touring.
Doing what?
Singing and dancing and stuff.
Just from all his shows that he's done?
So.
Movies?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh, wow. I'd like to see that. Have you seen, what was that show he was in? The Boy from Oz, I think?
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh, okay. That was one of his earlier ones. He was also in Oklahoma. Did you know that?
No, like the original Oklahoma? No, because that was like...
No, not the movie. It was on stage. I saw it televised several years ago. This was at least 10, 15 years ago.
No, never saw that.
Yeah. But
I have seen Oklahoma. I have seen a whole bunch of the, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I could go on and on. The Busby Berkeley musicals, West Side Story.
Oh, yeah.
I'm stretching now. But yeah, I love all sorts of stuff. And then even some of the more contemporary stuff like, Chicago and,
I actually haven't seen that one.
I've seen the movie, when they toured here a couple years ago, I saw Cats, which I thought was really good.
I liked Cats. I actually, you mentioned Oklahoma, the musical.
Yeah.
I was actually obsessed with that movie. That was my favorite movie growing up in California when I was like 5 or 6. And then when I heard that we were moving to Oklahoma for my dad's work when I was 8, I was so excited because I thought it was going to be just like the movie. And we were like going to ride around in a horse and buggy and everyone rode on horses and like singing all the time. And yeah, it wasn't like that. I mean, there are definitely cows and farms and stuff, but
yeah, like everybody thinks that, like, oh, you live in Texas, you live in,
oh gosh,
you live in the DFW area, you probably ride a horse to work and
what?
People
seriously ask you that?
People still think that, yeah.
That's so, yeah, when I used to live in Oklahoma, people would ask me if we lived in teepees.
Wow.
Yeah. So
where do you get your privacy if you're all in a teepee?
I don't know. Anyway,
yeah. So, but I guess getting back to acting, like, you talked about what drew you in, but like, what were some of your influences?
For acting?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think some of those films in that Great Films class really... I saw Citizen Kane for the first time.
Oh, that's such a great film.
Yeah. I can't think of some of the other films, but... So then that got me more interested in classic films. And so I started to watch more, and I watched On the Waterfront, and that's one of my favorites. So Marlon Brando,
of course.
And then Meryl Streep, of course, because whatever she does is just brilliant. And then I really love Tilda Swinton.
Yes.
I love just how she transforms for each character, and I just love to do that. Gary Oldman.
He's also another one that absolutely transforms.
Yeah, exactly. Like, until a couple years ago, I feel like a lot of people had never heard of him, or they hadn't realized he had played so many different parts, like Dracula, Beethoven, you know. Yeah, I would say those are my top dramatic actors. Top comedic would be Kristen Wiig.
Oh, she's phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, she's just so quirky, and just everything she does is just so funny. I think she does without meaning to. I like Will Ferrell too, though. I love it. He cracks me up when he yells. I just think it's so funny.
When he was on, he was definitely Mr. Saturday Night Live. Like, I love Saturday Night Live, and I still do. I still watch majority of them. Mm-hmm. And stuff. Yeah, he's definitely up there, a fave of mine.
Oh, do you like Zach Galifianakis?
Love Zach Galifianakis. Yes.
So funny. Oh yeah, earlier we talked about Christopher Guest. Oh my god, so funny. Waiting for Guffman. Oh, it would be a dream to work with him. Or I just love that style, that mockumentary style.
Okay, well, there's you'd love to work with him. Is there a movie that you've seen before that you were like, I was born to play that? Or is there a character, that hasn't even been done before that you'd be like, I'd be perfect for this? Like a dream role.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think I can't think of a role like that. I think more, for me, I just want to play as many different types of roles as possible, just to stretch myself. I'd love to be in an action movie. I'd love to kick butt doing that. I would love to be in an ensemble comedy TV show, like on a big network. I would love that. I'd love to be in period films. I'd love to be musical, like I said. I don't know.
Is it, speaking of periods, like a specific time frame that you're thinking?
No, all time periods. maybe early 1800s.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, the idea sounds really fun. I probably wouldn't like being in those dresses and corsets all day. It would probably get old. But it'd be fun. Yeah.
Once you get it on in character.
Yes. I've worn a corset before for opera. So I know what that's like.
Is there like I know it compresses you and yes. Like you're supposed to like expand when you breathe. Like how confining are those things?
It's pretty tight. You definitely have to sit up straight all the time. You don't have a choice. Like, you can't be slouching over like I am now.
Or I am.
and so it forces you to breathe and also sing from your diaphragm. So you have to take really deep breaths from down here.
Yeah.
And I wore it for about a month, and it really did shrunk. It shrunk my waist a whole lot. So. And you couldn't eat a whole lot at one time. So, it really wasn't that fun, but, I mean, I would do it for a film. If I could, like, have little snacks often, like, what are those electrolyte gel packs or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So I don't pass out.
What has been the hardest role that you've had to portray in any of your work?
Like, physically or
physically, mentally, emotionally, yeah.
Okay. So the one that comes to mind is the latest role I did in a feature, Shifter. I knew it would be challenging. It was challenging in a lot of ways, physically, emotionally, because the character, I don't want to spoil too much, but
right.
She goes through a lot. So the basic story is she's a scientist who invents a time travel device, and then she uses it on herself, and there are side effects. And she tries to fix it, and you have to watch to see what happens. But, so she's in a lot of pain from the side effects. So, and one thing that really drew me to that role was because the past few years, because of the accident, I have had constant pain every day. It depends on the day. And so a lot of things she's gone through specifically with her body, I'd gone through. So I was kind of reliving that. So that was kind of painful, like, just remembering, those really physically uncomfortable times. And there's also the psychological side to pain as well. It's not just the physical part. The kind of pain that you have where you can't think about anything else, then it's really hard on you mentally too, and it can be depressing. So I kind of relived that, and then she gets into dark places emotionally too, because a main theme of the film is isolation, and she tries to reach out to other people, and sometimes it doesn't quite work, sometimes it does. She's also afraid too at the same time, and so I've definitely had those periods in my life too, so I was exploring that as well. And then I screamed a lot, so it was just kind of like a lot. And it wasn't like high-pitched scream, it was more like a really, really loud groan. And I crawled on the ground a lot, and I was cold. Yeah, that's probably like my least favorite thing, is being cold on set, like for a while, and especially wet at the same time.
Oh.
So now when I'm reading a script, I ask questions, and I make sure to take care of myself. So.
Absolutely, yeah. No, if anybody's going to be an advocate for yourself,
Yes.
It's pretty much only going to be you, first and foremost. Yeah, I know, me personally, I went through, I ended up having to have surgery several years ago, because I was having ear, nose, and throat issues. And so they ended up taking out my tonsils. And they also, I don't know if you can see there, but I have a scar on my neck, where they found like a 2.2 centimeter, like that's not 2.2 centimeters.
I see it now.
They found a nodule in the middle of my thyroid, which the doctors were like, in the scans, it looks a little irregular, so we don't know if it's cancer, but all you hear is, oh my God, I have cancer. So, fell into a deep depression and stuff based on that. But, they took out my tonsils, and as an adult, getting your tonsils out, that's like one of the worst things that you could do. I couldn't talk for a month, and I'm a talker. So
wow.
that,
you are.
On top of, the whole, do I have cancer? Oh my God, I've got cancer thing. I can't talk, and stuff. And so it's just like,
express yourself.
No. And so, it was a horrible, horrible experience. But, and the pain, you can't eat anything for like the longest time. And
I had mine out when I was 11, but I think it was a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you throw up a lot of blood?
No, from the surgery, no.
Oh, I did.
No, the thing that initiated stuff was I kept going to, all these doctors for colds and, constant sore throats, but then hate to be graphic, but, was coughing up some bloody phlegm at one point. I was like, oh, this is not good.
Right.
And so got referred to the ENT and what have you, but,
Dang.
Yeah.
Well,
but we're so much better.
Oh, good.
So much better now.
Yeah, when I got that surgery, they told me that the scabs would come off and then go into your stomach, so you might throw up a little bit of blood. But then I threw up all this black stuff. It was so thick, it was black, and I was like, oh my god. And I just kept throwing up and throwing up. I was like, what is happening to me? Like, am I dying?
As an 11-year-old, yeah, that's very traumatic.
Because I didn't expect it to be black.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Yeah.
That, spoiler alert, but that is also another thing I have in common with Teresa in the movie Shifter. So
we'll be on the lookout for that.
There's some black stuff.
Is there, do you have any information about when Shifter, you want to let people know how they can look into information about Shifter or when it's going to come out or anything like that?
So we're going to film the rest of it in February. And we are still taking, contributions. Yeah, we're going to film for 2 weeks in February.
Cool. Yeah, I saw a little bit of something, a little teaser that you showed me, and the special effects on that look creepy. That's
yes.
I can't even put into words. Just like very jaw dropping.
Good. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see quite that, but wow.
I know, really high quality. And
very high quality. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of special effects. There are practical effects too with the makeup, like I showed you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
Very cool. Now, what is it that you worked on that, and you also worked on a film that me and Nick wrote that he directed. Now, what is it that makes you choose the projects that you do? What do you look for?
Well, Nick was nice enough to ask me, so that was nice. And then, well, it's a sci-fi, and I shouldn't say who I played, but the character I played, I was just really excited to play because I hadn't played anything like that before. And just from the way Nick described it, the kind of special effects he said he was going to use, and then he showed me later clips of it, and then the teaser trailer, I just knew it was going to be really high quality. And I know Nick has really high standards too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. And he's winning awards to prove it, so.
Right. Yeah. So I knew he was going to be, both of you were going to be really meticulous about it, and it was just going to be really high quality. And, I don't know, I'm just going to be really excited to see it.
Another question about roles. If somebody was to play you in a movie about yourself, who would you cast?
Like someone that's already famous?
It wouldn't have to necessarily be, but.
Oh, you know who I think would be the best? I thought of Kristen Bell, but then I thought that she's a little bit too famous. And so, you know what I mean?
No, what do you mean by that?
Because, I don't know. Because she's just so, I guess because I haven't seen her portray other people.
Okay.
In a biopic.
So you feel like she would bring too much of herself and all of that world, like if a Tom Cruise was to play somebody, it's really Tom Cruise.
She's too cute and charismatic, and I mean that in the best way. So then my second thought was Diane Kruger. You know that actress?
The name sounds familiar. Oh goodness, what was she in?
She's in National Treasure.
I've seen National Treasure. I can't.
She's blonde.
Okay, I think
was
I know who you're talking about.
She was in another series recently. It was called The Bridge or something. It didn't last very long. We look pretty similar though.
Oh yes, Inglourious Bastards.
Yes,
that's where I know her from. I'm like, I know the name.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, if she could just play me a little bit awkward and a bit quirky, and self-effacing and, a little bit introverted, and have the same hairstyle, and it would work, I think.
If you had a profession other than acting, what would it be?
The first thing that comes to mind is painter, because it's so relaxing. Like, if I could paint all day, I would, but I don't. So if I could just paint and sell my paintings and make a living off of that, that would be pretty cool. But I would also like to direct too, someday.
Is there a particular style of painting?
Abstract.
Very abstract.
I like to use gold and glitter.
What do you feel has been your greatest accomplishment so far in acting?
Oh, in acting. Oh.
Or even in life. How about both?
That's a good question.
I like to give good ones.
I would say I'm pretty proud of the range of characters I've done so far. They've been pretty different. At first, I was cast as the victim a lot, which is fine, and the love interest, but then, as I went along, then I got cast more as a stronger character, and then also more the lead. I played an assassin. I think I'm most proud of the fact that I usually get cast in roles that are, they're vulnerable people, but they also have a strength to them. So I feel like, or hopefully, when people cast me, they see me as sympathetic, someone to root for. So, but I'd also love to play a villain sometime too. One good one.
Who do you feel has been like your favorite villain to watch?
Man.
Film or theater or what have you?
I don't know if there's one, but I like the Bond villains. I like kind of the broader characters. I like them a little bit over the top, but not too over the top. Like, they're a little bit scary, but also they're not so violent that you're like, oh, I don't want to watch that. That's gross. You know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so scary, but entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite Bond villain?
Oh, I haven't seen all of them, actually.
I really haven't either. I've seen a lot of them, but...
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I remember Javier Bardem. He's the one that sticks out to me right now. I can't remember any of them. Who are the other ones?
Oh, goodness. Now you're throwing me under the bus.
Yeah. Who was the villain inspector? Can't even remember. I don't think there's an obvious villain in that one.
Inspector?
Yeah. Spectre.
Which was the latest one.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I drawing a blank?
Isn't it the one where he goes to his family house in Scotland and...
I don't... Was that it? No, I thought that was...
I'm gonna go with Javier Bardem.
Christoph Waltz.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a good villain. But he seems really nice in person.
Skyfall was the one where
Skyfall.
Where they went back to his home.
Okay. Yeah. Javier Bardem, and also the character he played in No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, the character he played in that was so absurd, yet creepy, yet real. It was so weird, but the directors, they have a way. They typically do comedy, but then they did a serious movie that was so the world that they built was just so absurd, but you believed the characters in that world. So that's very hard to do.
His haircut was really absurd.
Yeah, it was.
But it worked.
Yeah, it definitely worked for him.
He was really intimidating, even with that haircut. That says a lot. There was one scene in that movie where, I think it's a scene where he pulls someone over on the side of the road. I couldn't watch it. It was too intense for me. Because I was like, I know what's going to happen. I know something bad is going to happen, so I fast forwarded. But I watched the rest. So
I guess you're not really a horror fan, even though that you're.
No, yeah. Well, I will. It depends. Certain, like, psychological horror, yes, I'll watch. Like A Quiet Place. I haven't seen that yet, but I would like that. I like thrillers, but like torture movies, not my thing.
So you never saw Hostel?
No.
I saw that one in the theaters, and it was just like, it's very hard for me to, like, going to film school, like, watching stuff and being just totally enthralled in a movie. But, and I tried so hard, but, like, I actually was, but, like, my brain, it was so intense, like, my brain, like, popped me out of the movie. It was like, okay, as a producer, how in the hell did they do that? It looks so real.
Oh, yeah.
But, oh my God, it was such a great movie, but it was so intense.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'm not into that stuff. Like, I can take jump scares. I can take some horror, especially if it's like sci-fi horror or something like that. But too much of it, and like too much torture. I just feel for the person. I can't get through it.
Yeah, there was one of the jump scares that I was on the receiving end of, that I was just so mad that it happened. I don't think it was. Maybe it was The Ring. Or the Grudge. I think it was one of the Grudges. And the lead actress was, like, in an attic, and, like, she found these files, and she's, like, digging through these files, and it's extreme close-up of the files, and there's a millipede in your face. And it was like, and I jumped and I screamed in the theater, but I was just like, and then afterwards I was like, that was cheap. That was, yeah.
I actually used to be so scared of any movie. I couldn't watch any horror movie, that I was actually scared during Finding Nemo. I was scared of the sharks.
No, I haven't been.
You didn't watch it?
No, I've seen Finding Nemo. I haven't seen the second one, Finding Dory, but no, I didn't find it.
The sharks were creepy, but I'm also really scared of sharks.
Oh yeah, like. But I'm the one that, like, I went to go to Hawaii several years ago, and kind of a long story short, me and a friend at the time went, and we planned all this stuff, but I was like, I really want to do this shark dive encounter, like sunset shark dive encounter.
In a cage?
In a cage, okay. Thank goodness, but I was like, I don't know. You never know with the flights how it'll work. So, and it was supposed to be that night that we flew in. So I was like, if we land, we'll book it. And they ended up, it was supposed to be an 8-hour flight, turned into a 12-hour flight because we got diverted back to LAX to refuel to go back.
Oh.
Yeah. After being halfway across the ocean, it was like, so I was so mad that I never got to do my shark cage dive.
I don't know. Oh gosh, I don't know if I could do that. Have you seen 47 Meters Down?
No.
Well, you know what it's about, right?
No.
Well, they do one of those
shark cage.
Yeah, but then the rope or the what's it called? Not the rope, but like the chain, it breaks. So then they go down to the bottom of the ocean. And then they have to go back up, and there are so many sharks around them. Oh.
Well, have you seen that? What was that movie? I think it was Deep Blue Sea.
Yes, I did see that. See, that's a bit cheesy though, and I liked it. Yeah.
Am I thinking of the right one? There was Deep Blue Sea. No, that was the one with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, the shark jumps up. No.
Yeah. I remember. That's not the one that I'm thinking of, but it was this one where it was this couple that went
Open water.
Open water. That's it.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's intense. Like it's loosely based on a true story of people that got left.
Didn't they die? Didn't the real people die?
I think so. Spoilers. No.
Yeah,
but
I think I read
at the
that.
very end, spoilers, like...
Oh, I think I know what happens. I think I read the synopsis, I think.
Yeah, so like one of them ends up getting eaten, but then like the other one dies and is floating. And like the last shot, like if you've ever fed something to like fish in a fish tank and you see them like going at their stuff, but like there was this body in the ocean and there's this I can't remember if it's an above shot, it's above water and the body's sitting there floating and then the body like twitched, pulled underwater. And I was just like, oh, they didn't save him. Oh my God. But it's a great movie, but that shot like stuck with me.
What do you mean they didn't save them?
They never got back to the people to save them out of the water.
Oh.
Spoilers. But it's another intense movie.
Yeah. Like, I like some intensity, but I realized lately that like if it's intense enough, then it will physically affect my body, and I'll feel my blood pressure start to go up, and then I know that my body's creating more cortisol, and so I'm trying not to do that. Like I'm trying to keep my cortisol levels down, and like I'm trying to meditate every day, and so I mean I can see how it's entertaining, but I don't know, just at this period in my life, I can't take that many scares.
Right, I feel you.
So that's why I like the cheesy ones. Like, I really want to watch The Meg. That'll be fun.
I think that one looks too cheesy for me, even though, like, I'm a huge Jason Statham fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll probably, I don't know if it's out on DVD yet or not.
I don't know. It was in the dollar theaters, like, last month. I was going to see it, but I missed out. But anyway. Yeah, I tend to go more towards comedy.
Now, as far as movies go, what has been the scariest part of the audition process for you?
Oh, that's a good question. It's right before you go on. Right before you go in the room. I usually don't get that nervous when I'm in the waiting room, maybe a little bit, but then your heart rate starts to go up. Like 30 seconds before. And so I guess it's just the adrenaline. I guess that's the scariest thing. I don't know if I would say it's scary. It's more like an adrenaline rush. And then hopefully you do your job well. And then the adrenaline wears off. But I wouldn't say it's scary.
What do you do to, like, psych yourself up, or what's your process to get ready then?
Well, when I come in, I'm definitely prepared enough that I have an idea of what I'm going to do, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. So maybe that is a little scary. I wouldn't say scary, but I would say exciting. Maybe a little bit apprehensive because there's that uncertainty there. Because I don't like to have every moment planned out because, first of all, you don't know if you're just going to choke and forget what you practiced. And then second of all, I feel like, especially for auditions, that the interpretation of a role needs to be kind of fluid at that point because a lot of times maybe the director isn't quite sure who they want to cast. And so maybe they want to see what you can do differently with the part. And then also you want to be loose enough for them to redirect you and for you to try something else. So, I don't know. And then right before I go on, I do deep breaths from the diaphragm.
The diaphragm work comes back.
It does. Yeah.
It's very important. Breath control and...
Yes, I can thank opera training for that, for sure. What voice part are you?
I was a bass 1 baritone
Okay.
in high school.
That was my guess.
And you were a...
Soprano, lyric soprano.
What's the difference between a soprano, a lyric soprano, and...
That's a good question. There are several types of sopranos. The sopranos have the most different types. And I'm not even sure if I know all the other ones. There's lyric, dramatic, soubrette, coloratura, and then there are like some mixes. So lyric is I know it's kind of complicated, but lyric is basically right in the middle, and it has to do more with the tone, like the richness of the tone. Like soubrette and coloratura, they sing the really high notes, and they have a lighter quality. And then the dramatic, they have a darker quality, and it's closer to like the sound of an alto. Gotcha. But like, do you know who Kelly O'Hara is?
That name sounds familiar.
She was in Light in the Piazza on Broadway, which is one of my favorite musicals too. You should totally check it out. It's so beautiful. The score is. But anyway, people told me that I sound kind of like her, but a little darker. So, I can send you something if you want from my recital.
Cool. I'd love to check it out.
I think I have something on Facebook, actually.
Yeah, because I know that we haven't really had a lot of the chance, we worked on the film and it was kind of like, run and gun, and then we went our separate ways, and then we were quiet for a while while we were working on it. So, this is a really good time for me to like get to know you really before the film comes out. But
that's true. And it was like, wasn't it like 2 years ago?
Yeah, we shot in 2017. 2.5 years. We shot in 2017.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be a year and a half. So it'll be close to 2 years.
Wow, no.
When this thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Dang. It went by fast.
Went by very fast. What do you feel are some of the pitfalls that people tend to fall into with acting?
Maybe taking yourself too seriously. I mean, I know anyone can fall into that. But I feel like the more lead roles you have, the more you're catered to on set. And then I can see how maybe if you you could let that go to your head if you were in that position all the time. But really those people are there to help the movie and not just you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But also just not taking yourself seriously in general. Like, yes, you want to do a good job and you want people to like your work, but you have to let it go. You know what I mean? You can't watch yourself when you're acting. You can't be self-conscious. You just have to let it go and act like a fool sometimes, and it's totally fine. And just realize that probably no one cares. No one is judging you as much as maybe you think they are. At least that's what I've been working on. Not the diva thing, really. I don't think I'm a diva. But, like, the more of, just worrying about doing a good job.
Right. Well, we worked with you, and neither of us felt that, nobody on the set felt that you were a diva in the least.
Okay, thanks. Good.
You're welcome. How do you define happiness?
I would say it's being at peace, no matter what the situation. Yeah.
And then what has acting taught you through the years?
It's taught me that I can do better than I think sometimes under pressure. That I can surprise myself. And it's just, it's just a great way. I don't know how to say it without sounding really cheesy, but it's just a really great way to express yourself. And it's really fun to get lost in different characters. If that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Okay.
Be on that journey as far as, those characters and their headspace, and you get to go on that journey as, as you, but as them. And
yes. yes. And exploring those moments and just sitting in those moments. I don't know. It just feels fulfilling to me.
How do you define success?
I would say it's doing what you love. I would say it's doing what you love and being content with your life.
And then lastly, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh, don't worry so much. Think for yourself. Don't just do things because other people say that you should or it's the right thing to do. Have fun. I used to be a lot more uptight. Yeah. So it's screening, Alora screening at the Denton Black Film Festival.
Yes, it's the movie that we made that me and Nick both co-wrote. We both produced along with Jimmy Pies. And Nick Muthersbaugh is the director. It'll play at the Denton Black Film Festival on the 26th at 6:15 at the Campus Theater. So, yeah, tickets are available. We'll have a link to everything. And Nicole's seen a couple stills and shots and stuff in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't seen the whole thing yet. We haven't shown the cast everything. The premiere of it will be when everybody sees everything. So, but
yeah, I was a little jealous when you said your friend Steven has seen it. I was like, what? He's showing his friends, and I haven't seen it yet. Not really.
It wasn't finished at that point yet. I was still doing audio at that point, but yeah, I showed him a rough cut of it, and he was all like, yeah, that was the one thing that made him perk up was showing him and you pop on. He's like, is that Nicole? I was like, that's funny. Steven seems to know everybody here locally.
Yeah, because I had only met him once, and that was a while ago. That was almost 3 years ago. Probably. So. And then, so you're ready to hear back from some other festivals?
Yeah, and we're waiting to submit to a few others as well. So, but yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see it. I really am excited. Yeah, I truly am excited. Sometimes you say you're excited to make people feel good, to be polite, but I really am excited.
Well, I'm glad because sometimes not to say that I've done a couple sketches and I've done some shorts and stuff. And, I'm always excited when something, gets done because, it's a process and everything gets done. But this one is probably the most excited that I've been of everything that I've done so far.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, just the fact that we got it done is one thing, but to actually do something that looks this good and elicits so many emotions out of people, so many reactions,
yeah, and as an actor, I never know how it's going to turn out. Sometimes I have a good idea based on their previous work, but sometimes you just don't know.
Right.
So.
Which is so funny because if you've seen any of the other stuff that I've done, it's mostly weird sketches, but I do have some, and then I did a film in college that was, for my advanced film class, which was the movie that I met Steven on.
Oh, okay.
and we're talking about Stephen Brody, but I was really proud of that one, but like everything else since has been, all these comedy sketches and whatnot. And I'm sure people were just like, okay, and so, I thank you and the rest of the cast for, believing in us and trusting us enough to be on this incredible ride.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. And it really was fun. Even though it was hot, I really did have fun.
Well, I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, I need to watch some of your sketches.
Most of my stuff's online. I'll send you links.
My social, you can find me on Facebook. I have an actors page. It's Nicole Fancher Actress. I am on Instagram as Nicole A. Fanch. And I'm on Twitter.
That's the podcast. Thank you again to Nicole Fancher for sitting down with me. Don't forget to follow her on social, and you can check out updates on her feature film Shifter. And don't forget to pick up tickets to the screening of Alora at the 2019 Denton Black Film Festival. We'd love to see you out there and say hi. Keep up with the Avert Your Eyes podcast or check out past episodes by visiting our website, avertyoureyespod.com. There you'll find everything you need to subscribe to the podcast with links to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Twitter, Facebook, and so much more. Go to www.avertyoureyespod.com. And don't forget to leave a comment or review. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Michael Gibson Jr., and until next time on the Avert Your Eyes podcast, consider yourself warned.